At the end of 2019, I looked into the rhythm of the energy of the year for 2020, and it was really clear that it was split into two halves. That the first half was focused on effectively a sort of an energy of gathering, about going very deeply into our personal our purpose, our sense of place, our role, really connecting deeply into who we are and what we're here for. And that's certainly a process that has been happening in the early part of the year, but I think now that we have all got an opportunity to really go a lot deeper with that. And when I was looking at the specific energy of April through to June, what was coming through very clearly was around drawing some lines in the sand. And that's both at a personal level and a collective level. So on a personal level, it's about saying, what will we make space for in our lives? What won't we make space for in our lives? You know, and I'm really clearing out not just some of our behaviors, but also our beliefs and our thought patterns as well. You know, saying that that isn't something I am prepared to have in my life anymore, or that is something that I am going to consciously nurture and bring in to my day and to my week, to my daily routines. So there's lots of things that we're being asked now to sort of really connect very deeply to, as a process of doing that for the collective. So the more clear we become for ourselves, the more clear the collective can become, and hopefully then become much more, I mean, there is going to be a process. It's inevitably going to be a process where we have to move into a space of working more together as one. I think that's already evident in some instances, and where it's not evident, it is being thrown into very stark relief. And that, to me, is, you know, as we draw our own lines in the sand around what we will and won't make space for, and what we consider to be acceptable or not, then what will happen is that what's happening in the collective will come into much sharper relief. And I think that's going to be very interesting in terms of our businesses. It's going to be, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of challenges to come up over the next few months. And in fact, you know, and potentially much longer than that. There will be things that we need to be looking at, but I think it is now is the time where we can really look very closely, very deeply, very honestly at the way in which we operate and make the decision to do things differently. So it feels like that this is a point of reflection, a point of galvanization, a point of consolidation of any beliefs that you may have been building that have not been in tune with where we have been. And that's, I think, as we go through this process of our rhythms and routines being completely disrupted, then that will give us the opportunity to lose our connection to what has been and rebuild our connection to something more. And that to me was the big message to come out of this energy. And that is to say that it's very easy to get stuck, to get lost in that whole process of really doing that gathering, doing that galvanization, you know, going deep within it. But what was really important is to find that light, is to find that thread that is anchoring us forward into a new reality, and to keep that firmly in your grasp or in your sights and move through towards it, because that's what's going to take us out and into the other side. And it feels as though that, yeah, I said at the tail end of last year that with the year being split into these two halves, it feels like there's going to be this quantum shift that happens around about the middle of the year. And I think sometime around about the end of June, July, something like that, I think we're going to start to see a massive quantum shift in the way that we operate individually and collectively. So from your business point of view, you may feel that you are stuck for a bit, that you're treading water, but then there will be this, if you've done the work, there is the opportunity to leap forward. So for your business, it's a question of thinking about, what is it that I really want from this? What can I afford to let go now, and what do I really want to focus on? And this is something I have talked about a lot in the last 18 months, is about the importance of being able to allow yourself to declutter your business and say, this is something that I've bought into because I was told that I needed to buy into it, but it's never felt good. Now is a very good time for you to look at that and say, I don't like it because, and get really honest with yourself about that process. That's the process that I've been following with my Marketing Free journeys, actually looking at things and saying, and getting really closely looking at them and saying, why has this never felt comfortable? Why am I not prepared to do this? And as I've done that, then I've actually been able to shake it out and look at other ways of doing things. So it's an invitation to you to look at that and say, really honestly, why has this never felt good, and what can I create in its place? So you've got to go through that process of deconstructing it in order to reconstruct it. And that's what the energy of this quarter is really asking for and really calling forward from us all. And we will have that scope and we will have that time to do that work. So it's going to be an interesting period of time, but I think it is very much about being on the cusp of something much bigger, much more exciting, and is going to take us forward into completely new paradigms. And that is our opportunity to be the ones who create it.